What's going on, CashSports family? Welcome back again for another live stream with yours truly, Cash Sports. If you're tuning in now, drop that like and subscribe. It's gonna help out. It's gonna help out the channel. I'm looking forward for today's topic. We're gonna be talking about a bunch of things. So drop that like, subscribe to the page. I'm gonna try to live stream as much as possible. So today we're gonna get into another NBA conversation. Some things stirring about, players getting older, and we starting to see a lot of fresh faces start to come in. They're starting, they're showing up the league, they doing their thing. So, we excited to see it. So I got a couple guys here ready live in the chat. We're going to talk about, the best up and coming players. Mostly 25 and under. But we could stray, a little past 25 because those guys are still someone in their prime. But we're gonna tap in. So stay tuned into the conversation and let's get it. I'm gonna start adding these guys now. Get you right there. All right. So introduce yourselves.
Hey man, my name's Josh, man. Thank y'all for having me on the podcast. We coming in from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Toronto. And then you already know we already got my boy Artem here, live in the session.
If you tuned on previous vids of ours, you already know me. Your co-star.
Got you. All right, man. So let's tap in. First topic or first question, right? Who's gonna be the new face of the league after some of these old guys start to pack it up? People like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Basically most of these players from the 2010 eras, because we're starting to see a lot of these young teams. We saw a team like the Boston Celtics who virtually played together for a better part of their younger career. You even start to see, certain teams like the Heat, even though Jimmy Butler is still, a player from a little behind. But, now you got teams like the Bucks, Devin Booker and the Suns, especially Luka Doncic and the Mavs, they're starting to light it up. So I want to get your guys' insight on what you guys think the league's going to start looking like in the next couple of years or so. So let's start with you, Josh. I want to hear your insight.
Okay, yeah. So you can really go anywhere with this question, but at the end of the day, when I'm looking for a top 5 young star, I'm thinking of something that makes you different. You know what I mean? Something that separates you from the pack. So all 5 of my guys, they have a little something that just that makes them stand out. So I'll go from 5 to 1. For number 5, we'll go Jalen Green. Look, I know it's very early to say Jalen Green, but at the end of the day, when I see Jalen Green, I see the next Vince Carter. Okay, this is a guy that has leaping ability. He's a guy that can shoot the 3. He's too fast. Okay, he's too fast. He's 6'6", which is what I like about him. I like tall guards, and he's 6'6". So that's something about Jalen Green. And yeah, this is a guy that had 5 30-point games in his rookie season, which is crazy. Not a lot of rookies can say that. I think only 4 or 5 can say that. So that's crazy. Jalen Green, 17 points per game. He's gonna be nice. Rockets just gotta figure out their shit. Number 4, we got Jaylen Brown. Look, man, Game 6 of the NBA Finals, closeout game. I know the Celtics didn't win, but he had 30-something. He's just a star, man. He's a star. Number 3, we got Jason Tatum, his teammate. Look, Jason Tatum, he may have played bad against the Warriors in the finals. Wiggins is an underrated defender, so, I'll give that to him. But Jason Tatum, his sidestep 3, he can just create shots whenever he can, okay? You can't guard that. That sidestep 3, he sidesteps, he's 6'9", he rises up for the shot, raps. He's going to practice that shot, and he's going to be nice. Number 2, Zion Williamson. Look, 27 points, first season in the NBA when he really played. If he comes back, he's going to be even better. When I look at Zion, I look at his jump shot, and his jump shot's very, very nice. There's a lot of NBA players with these funky jump shots. Zion Williamson has a nice jump shot. At number 1, he's the best player in the NBA right now, Luka Doncic. He's the best player in the NBA right now. He's below 25. Trust me. Luka Doncic, he has it all, man. Like, when you look at a guy with, like, an offensive bag, there's nothing this guy can't do. Up top, that step back 3, he improved a lot last season. He shot 38% from 3. Big improvement. Down low, Luka Doncic, that's where he really shines. The mid-range game. He's unstoppable. His strength is too much. He bullies you every time. He rises up for the shot at 6'6". You can't guard that. Luka Doncic, he's the face of the NBA right now. He'll be the face for the next 15 years. And yeah, that's my top 5.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to jot that down real quick. So you said you started off with Jalen Green, and then who did you have? You had Jalen Green number 5, and then who did you have at 4?
Jaylen Brown number 4. JT number 3.
So you had Jason Tatum at 3, and then Jaylen Brown at 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, interesting. All right, let me
and Zion at 2.
Yeah, Zion at 2.
Yeah, I know Zion at
27 points per game in his first season. Ridiculous.
Okay.
And when was the last time he played, huh?
Doesn't matter.
Zion. Okay, we gonna tap into that, but let's get your list real quick, Artem.
1 sec. But weren't we doing like who's going to be the face of NBA instead of top 5? You're on mute.
I mean, however way you want to put it, bro. I mean, you could say whoever is going to be number 1. You could give 3. You could give 5. It really doesn't matter.
All right. Actually, can you say yours first? I'll say mine in a bit.
Okay.
So actually say top 3.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off at the top. So obviously, I got Luka Doncic. I don't really think there's really much of a dispute there. Luka Doncic is clearly shown that he's going to be the best player in the league in the next 5, 6, 7 years from now. By that time, I don't think really anybody's going to be able to mess with Luka on the terms of type of caliber superstar that he's potentially going to be. Coming in second, honestly, I don't fault you on that. I think the Zion pick was a very good pick. Honestly, that you kind of snuck that in there, but I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, Zion Williamson had a really good second year. I mean, besides the fact that he was getting injured with the whole foot injury thing last year, I mean, he was still averaging 27 points and shooting 61% from the field, which is something really hasn't been done ever. If you really check back and look at it. So all he has to do, I mean, he's coming into the season, he's going to be in shape. So I think he's going to be, he has his money. So I think he's in for a pretty good season this year. So only thing is I would have Devin Booker at number 2, which is crazy how you don't have Devin Booker in the top 5 as best players, because I mean, we talking about a guy who just made All NBA first team for the first time in his career. He was in MVP voting. He was an MVP candidate this year, and not to mention, he could have potentially had another title run this year. Give or take, he still lost to Dallas Mavericks. So I got Devin Booker definitely at number 2. So coming in next at 3, now I got Jason Tatum. So I got Jason Tatum at number 3. I don't think not a lot of pushback there. I think Jason Tatum really deserves that recognition. Also another player who was All NBA this year. Even though he didn't have the best finals run. Everybody likes to shine light on the fact that he had over 100 turnovers. I think people are making poo-poo of nothing. At the end of the day, he was still good enough to be Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He still had one of the best title runs of his career. He was able to get to a finals, unlike many other players. So I think he deserves a lot of credit there, and at least in that aspect. Now, I would have Zion Williamson at 4. Only reason why I would, even though Zion Williamson, besides Luka, I think he has the best upside out of the other players besides Luka. Simply, because of the fact of what I stated earlier. Zion Williamson, he's just an unstoppable beast, man. I was just making it short on Zion Williamson, man, and it's like, he can really get to the hole however and whenever he wants to. Like when it comes to him, having that vertical and getting to the rim and laying it up, dunking it up, literally he can't be stopped. Like you talking about elbows to necks, nuts on forehead, like any way you could get it. Zion Williamson is gonna dunk the ball, so you can't really stop him from there. And so my 5th, honestly, I'm gonna give this one to Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown really does deserve it. I think with his name being in the trade talks, it's for good reason. If you look at the stats that was going on, particularly this year, he actually had the most points in the fourth quarter, more than any other player this particular playoffs. I think it was 154, and I believe he had some really great fourth quarter numbers in this postseason too. He was averaging 7 points per game in the fourth, shooting 50% from the field goal and from 3. So it was definitely, I think Jaylen Brown has definitely been overlooked, and he definitely, I think he's a better defender than Jason Tatum. So that's another key thing too. So yeah, that's my list. That's my top 5 and players that I think is going to be really coming up in these next couple of years or so, and they got to be at least 25 and under. There's also some names in there. I'm gonna get at your list, Josh, because I do got a bone to pick with you on the name that you got on there, but we going to tap into that. So we gonna do Artem, and then we gonna do my boy Philippe last. You could kind of tap in. You can kind of get the energy of what we're talking about. So I'm gonna tap into Artem, and then you go.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna give my top 3. So I'm kind of shocked that no one mentioned Trae Young yet, because you can say that he's 6 foot. Okay, that doesn't matter. My Trae is like 6 in league in points and 6 in league in assists. If you don't say that's impressive for a 6-footer, well, I don't know what you're saying. I certainly think that Trae Young will put out more. He just needs a better team, and he will get one real soon. So I think people should look out for Trae Young, and within a couple of years, he is definitely going to be in that top 3. At number 2, I've got Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, he's a great two-way player. Of course, I can give him a lot of smoke for this past season, but I mean, at the same time, he does have 50-point games in his career, which is the same amount as Larry Bird. And he did drop 50 games in Game 3 against Brooklyn Nets last season. So for a person under 25, that's extremely impressive. Having the same amount of 50-point games as Larry Bird, yeah, Tatum's got to be up there. And at number 1, I've got Luka Doncic. Well, no denial, Luka Doncic is going to be the face of NBA. In his first 5 seasons, he's already put up better stats than LeBron did in his first 5 seasons. His career average is like 26 points, 8.5 rebounds, and almost 8 assists. And I mean, his playoff career is even better. 34 points, 8 rebounds, and 9.5 assists. He's a triple-double machine. As long as he gets his defense up, he's going to be face of NBA, just like that. And yeah, you're on mute.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, I'm gonna chime in on that list afterwards because I definitely want to give some get some insight on that also. So let me let my boy Philippe chime in also. Before we get into Philippe's point of view, who's ever in the chat, man, you know, drop that like, subscribe to the page, man. It's just gonna help out the page, you know, more and more as we start to do a lot more live streams. So Philippe, you got the helm.
What's up, guys? Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Cash Sports. Very excited to be here. I very much agree with the previous speaker. I apologize if I don't immediately remember your name. But I definitely agree with you. Luka has probably one of the more explosive upsides in this new generation of dynamic basketball players. I believe that ever since Stephen Curry broke the mold, or I would say players of his ilk did, what Luka's going to do is kind of just even furthermore expand that. And he's going to put up ridiculous numbers. I mean, as soon as he walks on the court, for the most part, you're guaranteed 25 points on a bad day. And that's really saying a lot, especially considering everybody knows he's such a threat, and they're still going to put pressure on him. However, for number 2, I would actually have Trae Young. I definitely agree. Just to kind of piggyback on what's said, I feel like Trae Young may not have the right pieces around him, but I think his short career has kind of shown that he will not shy away from the spotlight. He's a sniper. He's always here to play, and he has this nasty streak in him that allows him to really show up when necessary. Granted, there has been some cases where he hasn't shown like superstar level, but there's been flashes of it. And obviously we know that players such as like a Damian Lillard, who can do anything at his position, regardless of him being able to drop 50, 60, 70 points, cannot make it to the conference finals nor the finals without an additional piece, as you're currently seeing with his career trajectory. So definitely Trae Young. And then lastly, Jaylen Brown. Not that I think Trae Young has more of an upside. I just feel that Jaylen Brown has more of the necessary pieces around him to really blossom as he has been blossoming. One of the key indicators of, not indicators, but I would say a key necessity for a player to really blossom in the NBA is to have the right environment and the right pieces around them to not only motivate them, challenge them, but also make them better. I mean, right now, the Celtics culture is probably top 3 in the NBA, apart from, I'd say, the Warriors and the Heat. And the only thing the Heat is missing is the talent that the Celtics and the Warriors have. So that would be my top 3. I do like the prospect of Zion. However, I'm just not necessarily convinced. I believe he does have the athletic explosiveness. I believe he does have the talent. I just don't feel like I've seen anything apart from that, because we know explosiveness and talent are not the only things required to become a superstar in the NBA. It requires a lot of hard work and dedication. And there's been inconsistencies, a lot of them out of his control, to give him his credit. So I'm really looking forward to see what he does, but at now I'm being very cautious of putting any stock into Zion. I can't think of the 5th one, but that would be my list.
All right, well, you know, I can help you there. Before I kind of go on my little soliloquy here, does anybody want to chime in before I start to get into some of the names that you guys brought up? Nope.
Yo, Cash, what was your 3rd player again, bro?
My 3rd player was Jason Tatum.
Okay, true. Yes.
Yeah, Jason Tatum. So, Josh, I want to get to your list first. Jalen Green, bro. What the hell, dog? I mean, I'll be honest here. You know, I think there is a lot of upside with Jalen Green, but to have him top 5, in the face of the league, that's way too close to call. Especially now that you got, a lot of these a lot of these rookies coming in with size, durability, scoring. They have a lot of tricks in their bag. And Jalen Green, even though I think he's about like 6'6",
Yeah.
probably like about a shooting guard size. So he's a great player, but he's still a volume shooter. And the way I look at volume shooters in the league, even though they can, you can stem a lot of great players that play like that. But at the end of the day, what truly matters sometimes is efficiency. And so it's not about making shooting as much shots and then dropping them when you can. It's about making the best shots and making smart shots that's beneficial to the team and the players around you, so that not only are you getting better, but the players around you. And I think just with Jalen Green just being so young, I think there's a lot of growth, where he can start to see and understand things like that. Because I mean, hey, it's the league, it's the NBA, so you can only go as far as you can take your team. And as of right now, I think Jalen Green just still has a lot of growing to do in that aspect. But I do see him, as a really great player. But we can chime in on some of these rookies, because I mean, this summer league, I'm not gonna hold you. There's definitely some names out there that's gonna be in the works for these next couple of years. For me personally, I don't understand how you can say Jalen Green when you got guys like Evan Mobley, and Scotty Barnes just did his thing in Toronto. So I'm sorry, I can't take somebody like Jalen Green over somebody who's been kind of putting in the work for these past couple of years, especially LaMelo. I would have LaMelo over Jalen Green at this moment also. Trae Young was definitely a sneaky pick. I definitely forgot about Trae Young. Trae Young, he needs to be on that list. I think it's fair. But there's also another player that I feel like we really truly missed out on. I think we're dead wrong for not saying it. Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant deserves to be top 5. For the players in the coming years. I mean, even though he's a point guard, he has a smaller frame. I mean, we can't knock the things that we've seen him do last season. I mean, I think with Ja Morant, if he had played in that entire series against the Warriors, I'm not saying the Warriors wouldn't have won that series, but it definitely would have been a way more complicated series to win. Because let's be honest here, on the defensive end, they really wasn't stopping Ja Morant like that. Ja Morant was able to get to the hole, slash to the rim, really whenever he wanted to, unless there was like some type of defensive help from the Warriors in the inside. I mean, that was really the only way they were stopping Ja Morant. But other than that, I mean, Ja Morant was having his way. He was having his way with the Warriors. So reason being, you got to have Ja Morant in that top 5, because if you're gonna have Zion, you got to have Ja. I mean, in all fairness, I mean, Ja Morant won Rookie of the Year the same year Zion was playing. The same year Zion was playing. He made the playoffs the same year Zion was playing. So even though Ja Morant doesn't put up the numbers statistically like Zion, which is why there's a lot more upside to somebody like Zion, but Ja Morant, I would say last year he had a better team. They had a lot of chemistry. He showed that he can ball on a team that can ball. So that in itself, that goes a long way, because to make it in this league as a star or as a superstar, you have to be the best player on the best team. Nobody's good enough not anybody's good enough to take a bad team to anywhere. So just scoring or just putting up numbers on a bad team, that doesn't really show for much if your team doesn't really have some success. So I think, in that aspect, I think Jaylen Brown does take a hit from the top 5, even though, it's well deserved. I would definitely say Jaylen Brown is probably like a top 3, top 5 shooting guard. Now, in terms of player in the upcoming season, I would definitely say Jaylen Brown, could go higher on that list. But I'm disappointed in y'all, man, and not saying Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker, he I think Devin Booker has definitely earned his stripes over the years, man. I think people give him a lot of slack on the defensive end, especially as an offensive player. Like Devin Booker's on the offensive side of the ball is just something to watch. Like we know when he's on his stride, he's on his stride. We talking about a player that once, he scored 70 on the Boston Celtics. So Devin Booker is a player that we definitely got to look out for, and I see him as a top 5 shooting guard, or even the best shooting guard right now. If he's not the best shooting guard in the league at this given moment, I mean, I don't see who is. So anybody.
I was just gonna chime in. I feel like Devin Booker.
And anybody can chime in, man. I'm just saying,
gotcha.
it doesn't have to be like this organization or like, okay, like, all right, who talks. Like, if anybody feels like they want to say something off their chest, like it's let it build organically. This is barbershop talks, man. Like, you feel me? You got something to say?
So I feel like with Devin Booker, I think he wasn't mentioned because the initial thing was like, who you feel has the most upside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel like Devin Booker arrived already. I feel like everybody we mentioned has not. I mean, Devin Booker has showed us that he can drop 70. Devin Booker has showed us that he can get to the finals. Devin Booker is on a wonderful team, on a great culture. Devin Booker has already kind of established himself as a threat. I feel like, how many years has Luka been in the league so far?
Like 4 years.
How many years have Devin been in the league?
About 5-6 years.
5-6 years.
Yeah, so not that much.
So even with the way Luka has been kind of playing, you still get the sense that there's more to come. With Devin, I think it's more so maybe rounding out his game. Not to say like he's capped, because I wouldn't want to necessarily put it in that manner. But I feel like we've already acknowledged that he's here. I think Luka still has more room to grow, which is like really scary when you think about it. I feel that you're definitely right about Ja, because I feel like he's just really now starting to emerge, and he has a high ceiling. So I'm curious to see like what are his limitations and how he kind of goes about it. But then also I still feel like Trae Young, man, he doesn't have the pieces or the environment for him to really thrive. Like, for the most part, it's like he is the Hawks. Like, there's no additional support system at 6 feet. Like, he's not Derrick Rose. He's not flying to the rim. He's a spot up shooter. If you create situations for him, he will hit it. He will dribble up and he'll hit it. But he hasn't reached that form where he'll just like net it half court. You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't gotten to that point yet. But he can. Same thing for like a Jaylen Brown. He can get there. But once again with Zion, I just feel like I haven't seen enough of that man to just be like, yo, Zion is next up. I just feel like the hype, the physicality, and the explosiveness all kind of give you that. And he has put up decent numbers when he has played. But I also feel like I need to see more, because there's a litter of very talented basketball players that, as their career progressed, not much came from it. Like DeMarcus Cousins, incredibly talented. At some point, you could have said that he was relatively unstoppable. But what exactly has he done with his career except for score and win some games? Like, what has he really done? So I feel like if Zion doesn't show other traits apart from those things that I've mentioned, he's going to be like another DeMarcus Cousins, like a talented player who you'd love to have on your team, but doesn't really offer much. I do recall JJ Redick had a call out about Zion, which had to do with his leadership qualities. So I'm curious to see how that goes along, because he did make a very big commitment with Orlando. So I'm New Orleans. So I'm very curious to see where that goes. But that's my take on that.
Okay. Well, anybody else?
All right. When we talk about Luka's son, Booker, we need to look back at their playoff series that just happened.
Nice. Nice.
So let's look at that. Suns are up. What was it? 3-2. So all they need is just one more win to win that series. What does Booker do? The sixth game. Yeah, the sixth game he drops. He drops 19 points, and then last game, as we all know, he drops like 11 points. And you're telling me that a person or a player that was this one game away from winning the series for the next two games only dropped 19 points and 11 points should be in top 5 face of NBA?
Yo, didn't LeBron do that though? Didn't LeBron do that?
Yeah, there's definitely been
did that though.
There's definitely been not 11 points though. He's had like 9 points. I mean, we can probably go through the numbers, but there's a hit. There's some L's in there. Every superstar takes some L's every once in a while. But let me chime in on this, man, because Artem, like, he has a really bad reputation of taking a very small portion of your career and saying, okay, this is what your NBA career will look like from further on. I mean, yes, he had a bad series, but let's not take away the fact that Devin Booker was just awarded All NBA First Team for the first time in his career. That, that being said, that's saying, hey, you are the best shooting guard this year, and that was the first time he had won it. So if Devin Booker goes onward to win 2, 3, 4, even 5 more All NBA selections, that's saying, hey, not only has he reached the peak of his talent, but he's keeping that level of consistency. I'll give you that though. It was a bad series. Actually, it was a horrible series. Actually, it was a horrible game 7. You know what I'm saying? So we go there. That was a bombshell of its own. That was I mean, I was watching an interview with Jalen Brunson, and even he couldn't believe like what was going on. Like, they was like talking, at halftime, like, yo, we up by like 30 right now. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
What did Chris Paul do in that series?
Chris Paul's ass.
Chris Paul. Chris Paul in that series, you definitely saw his age, and he was, he was getting hurt. He was getting hurt in that series. He was, you already know the whole Chris Paul story. That man is cursed, but
Hey man, can I chime in real quick?
Yeah. I had more to say, but say your piece.
Okay, thank you. Hey man, yeah. So like, this is what I'll say about the Suns. Okay, Chris Paul's too old. Like, he's doing his thing, but he's just too old. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna disrespect the guy, but he gets a lot more hype than like he deserves. Devin Booker, I have a big problem with if you guys put him on your list. Let me tell you what Devin Booker is from like a pure eye test perspective. Devin Booker's a fadeaway shooter, okay? Which means what the Suns do is they get Aiden to set a screen for him, and then he'll shoot a fadeaway. And like, that's all it really does. But like, other than that, he doesn't have too much in his bag. He's not like nice off the ISO. He doesn't have a nice step back. You know what I mean? And like, other than him being a fadeaway shooter, he's soft. Like, he's just soft. Nobody fears Devin Booker in the NBA. Nobody. Like, what's Devin Booker going to do to you? He's not going to do anything to you. At the end of the day, like, there's much more players that people fear. Jason Tatum, that sidestep 3, that just makes defenders look dumb. You know what I mean? Like, James Harden, he comes in with a step back. He rises for the shot. Devin Booker, he's just a fadeaway shooter, man. And like,
if a fadeaway shooter can score 70 points in a game, what happens when he has a well-rounded game? That's the upside.
All right, so let me add in on Philippe's argument right here, right? So, because I don't know where you guys is getting this thing with Devin Booker, like, out of nowhere. He's just like some guy who's one-dimensional and he can't do a bunch of other things. Last I recall, he was an MVP candidate, or his strongest MVP candidacy was when Chris Paul was hurt. Am I right? Chris Paul was out,
right.
And they won a good amount of games with Devin Booker playing the point. So that clearly showed that Devin Booker is clearly not one-dimensional. That he can also facilitate. Like I said, when it comes to defense, also Devin Booker ain't exactly the lockdown guy. But if like you said, if you're talking about the eye test, if you're watching these games, Devin Booker is definitely putting some physicality into his defense, because at the end of the day, defense just comes about it's mostly effort. If you really think about it, you know what I'm saying? In the league, it really comes down to effort. Now, with your one-dimensional fadeaway shot, or whatever you said about him fading away. So I'm gonna go over Devin Booker's numbers real quick, right? So Devin Booker, besides his rookie year where he averaged 13 points, so from 2016 to 2022, these are his points per game: 22, 24, 26, 26, 25, 26, and 23. And 23.5 is his career. So, and not to mention, he shoots 35% from the three throughout his career. Last year, or this year specifically, he shot 38% from three, and he shoots 45% from the field, which is kind of relative to how shooting guard numbers. So for the most part, I mean, you can, besides somebody like James Harden, who can put up like 30, who's averaging like 30 points with the Rockets. Those are kind of relatively James Harden numbers when you talk about efficiency, and I think if it isn't in terms of value on how many shots that James Harden was able to take, Devin Booker is a better 3-point shooter in that regard, in terms of quality shots and efficiency. So yeah, that's that. But anybody else want to chime in? You got something to say to that, Josh?
Yeah, I got a lot to say to that.
Hey, speak your piece, man.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, when I watch basketball, I see it from simply a who's better perspective. I see it from like, give me this guy, give me that guy, who's better. Devin Booker had no MVP candidacy. I don't know why you're lying to the public. What MVP candidacy? Am I missing something? It didn't exist, bro. What are we talking about here? Giannis, Jokic, Embiid. Those are the three MVPs.
And Devin Booker was number 4, right? Wasn't he just out of the cut? And number 3?
Hey, man, I don't know about number 4. I know about the top 3.
Yes, he was.
Devin Booker has never been a top 10 player. This is only his second playoffs. The first playoffs was a fluke. This playoffs was the real Devin Booker. He sold the bag. How do you lose to the Mavericks? The Mavericks don't have Porzingis. They are we supposed to believe that Jalen Brunson's this top tier guy? No, I'm not buying.
Wait, hold on now. So see that statement right there, low key, it's kind of a contradiction, because you can't talk down on a team like the Dallas Mavericks, but yet praise one of their best players, or the best player on that team, as being the best player to come in the next coming year. So you can't.
Okay, that's fair.
You can't talk them up and then at the same time talk them down, because at the end of the day, I mean, the Mavs, even though they were Luka heavy on the usage side of the ball, they were still a really good team. Jalen Brunson was still able to ball out, and that's the reason why he got his $1 million contract, $100 million contract from the New York Knicks. Now, when it comes to top 10, right, I think that's very subjective when you talk about players, going into the league, and having a top 10 list about in terms of power rankings. I think Devin Booker, if he were to make the cut, I mean, just out of the top of my head, I mean, I would probably put him on the lower end of the spectrum, maybe like eight to 10. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to give him that much props in terms of where he's at as the best player in the league, because I mean, we named a couple lists. We named a couple names in terms of just our list alone, and those are just the guys 25 and under. We're not even talking about the guys who are in their prime and the guys who are actually, the best players in the league at this moment. So with Devin Booker, man, is like I said, my eye test, when I look at Devin Booker, man, I see a lot of potential. I mean, last year, or the year when they went on their playoff run against the Bucks in the finals, he had the most points in a playoff run in his debut. I think that was the most points since Kobe Bryant. You know, and we all know what type of player Kobe Bryant was when it came down to the playoffs. So like I said, in the next coming years, I mean, who would you say is going to be better at Devin Booker at the shooting guard position? I think there's a lot of people that do come in second, or even close second. But I think relatively, if you break it down and you really, you scratch some of these names off the list, and I think Devin Booker is definitely, top 2, top 3 point guard, not point guard, shooting guard in the league. So.
But my question though, I'm just real curious. How was his playoff run a fluke? Like, what do you feel are like the indicators of it being a fluke? Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
why you gotta. Like it's a fluke? You gotta elaborate on it.
Yeah, you do, buddy.
That's all good. Yeah. Call me out. No. Like, please do. Like, I want you to call me out on everything, that you find like a little fishy. But I can explain everything. That's beautiful me. You know what I mean? So basically, Devin Booker, as Artem said, give credit to Artem, he dropped 19 and 11, right? His last 2 playoff games, the closeout playoff games. Who was guarding him?
Nah, you talking about this recent one. But you referred to when he made it to the finals, you said that was a fluke. Elaborate on that. We saw what happened. He didn't have he wasn't good, bro. Luka was spanking.
Nobody's making excuses for that series.
Luka spanked the Suns. It was period point blank. Devin didn't show up. Chris Paul his age showed up. Okay. Suns did not have an answer for the Mavericks. Period point blank. I got you right. But that previous season, when the Suns made it to the finals, how was that a fluke? Like, who did the Suns have to go through? I don't have it off the top of my head. Pat, do you?
Yes, sir. I do.
The Lakers. I know they beat the Lakers. Who did they face in the second round?
Nuggets. Swept.
Nuggets. Yeah, they swept the Nuggets. Right. I don't think Artem remembers that, but they clean sweep on that team over there. I forgot that guy.
On one of the MVP candidates, right?
Yeah, I forgot his name. I think he's I think he's over in Serbia, like at his ranch, square dancing or some shit.
Yeah, with the highest contract in NBA history, though.
Hey man,
the highest contract for what? He's picking up horse shit with the bag right now, bro. Like, the highest contract.
You know what I mean? So, but no, you can keep going, Josh. We're still interested in hearing what you got to say.
Yeah, so it's a fluke because, I'll break it down, right? Like, he just got the most favorable matchups. The Suns got the most favorable matchups. The Lakers, the thing about that Lakers team was that they're not able to guard a guard like Devin Booker. Devin Booker's fast, right? So Devin Booker just runs.
Oh, he's fast now. He's fast. I thought he just did fadeaways.
No, that's what I was about to say. That he just runs, does a fadeaway. He just runs ahead of you, does a fadeaway, he pulls up and he makes it, right? He's just I'll give Devin Booker some credit while I'm at it. He's the second best fadeaway shooter in the league. First is KD, then it's Booker. Okay, so I'll give him some credit. But the Lakers were just a bad matchup for the Suns, okay? Just is what it is. Nuggets, DeAndre Ayton carried that series. I know you guys remember this. He bitched Jokic. He bitched him. He actually bitched him, which is why Jokic, he's not as good as Embiid because because he can get bitched by these centers like DeAndre Ayton. Okay, just had to throw that in there.
Because it's not like he averaged 30+ points during that series either.
And then the Clippers, Aiden bitch Zubac. You know what I mean? See, Aiden's a nice center, bro. Aiden's a top 5 center in the league. He's number 5 because he can bitch 90% of the centers in the NBA. And he can, heavily bitch them. He bitched Jokic. He bitched Zubac. And, yeah, Devin Booker was doing his thing. But DeAndre Ayton was the reason why, the Suns were doing their thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Artem, you got some things you want to say?
About what?
No, I'm just saying if you want to chime in.
Wow. Bro, I know what you're saying about Aiton smoking fucking Jokic, but bro,
He did.
Yeah, we were
he
there.
did.
Mm,
Who
yeah,
was
he
averaging
did.
30
We
plus
were
points?
there.
Sorry, not Aiton. It was Jokic. Well,
He didn't average
personally,
30. He averaged 25.
personally, I don't think if someone averages 25 points, it's getting bitched.
So, but hold on. But back to the main point. So you're saying that with the Lakers, it was a favorable matchup because they couldn't guard Devin Booker. That's the argument for the first round. Because
Yes.
the team could not guard the best player on the other team. It was a favorable matchup.
Yeah, that's a good argument, I guess.
Nah, bro. That just implies that he was just better than the Lakers at the time. So that's one. And then two, what's the talk about the Nuggets getting swept? Because their best player was getting bitched?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. That doesn't make it a favorable matchup. It just means that the other team was better than the other team. So I think the Suns really showed up for that playoffs. And you got to give them their credit. Like Devin Booker, you're right. I wouldn't necessarily, if I'm making a team, I'm not going to pick Devin Booker. He's not sexy to me. Like I don't want, if I could pick KD or Devin Booker, I'm going with KD. If I could pick James Harden or Devin Booker, it would be a difficult choice because James Harden's out here shacking the fool. But, I would still pick James because I know he has the ability to, it's in there somewhere. He could possibly still drop 40. Who knows? But, it's been proven. But nonetheless, we're still talking about someone who's made it to the finals. Granted, the Suns had no answer for Giannis. It is what it is. But still, out of all the players who are, as the initial question was, 25 and under, he definitely shows a lot of promise. Maybe not as much promise as Luka, because honestly, with him, the sky's the limit. But nevertheless, this is a player who still hasn't fully rounded out yet. Still a player that hasn't fully rounded out yet. So if you take into account, okay, if his main asset is fadeaways, but still managed to make it to the finals, what does that really say about his future? So he has to toughen up. Michael Jordan had to toughen up to beat the Pistons. So I feel like as a player, he has a lot of upside, and he has proven that he's willing to take it there. He didn't show up. It happens. Superstars sometimes don't show up. It be like that. But, if he continues to sustain the progress he's been making throughout his career, it's got to end up being a top 5 player eventually. I'll say top 8, like a top 8 player eventually, because I feel like the top 5 spot will probably be, I don't know who would still be playing at the time, but if Steph Curry's still playing, he still hold that spot. Fuck it. Who knows, bro? Ben Simmons might surprise everybody.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Just had to throw that in there. But so we was talking because remember how he brought up some names, right? He brought up Devin Booker's worst games. Let's look at Jokic's let's look at this game right here when they lost on their home court, right? He was like negative.
I just want to remind you that last season, like 2021, that LeBron only had was averaging in the playoffs 22 points. Well, and obviously Jokic had way more.
Okay, all right, yeah, that one season, okay, that one season, you can't Jokic's best playoff season would never compare to LeBron James' best season, not even remote, not even close. Like LeBron's best postseason career would shit on, honestly, not even just Jokic, any player in NBA history. Like let's get that straight. Okay.
Except Kobe.
I wouldn't even say that.
Dirk, possibly Dirk.
No, not
Dirk.
even that. Come on, bro.
2011,
bro.
2011.
Yes. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that playoff run wasn't special because, hey, bro, we was watching it. You saying
playoff run or playoff career?
Playoff run. Like I'm saying, like Dirk Nowitzki had a fantastic playoff run. It was more so a fairy tale or a story to tell, on Dirk Nowitzki's end, because nobody really expected the team like Dallas Mavericks to come through and Dirk Nowitzki to be doing what he's doing. But what I'm saying is, any statistical year where LeBron is on a playoff run, right? He's putting up the best numbers more than anybody. He's putting up the most points on a consistent basis. His PER is through the roof when it comes to what he does for his team. So, like I said, man, it doesn't compare.
Is that out of necessity, or does necessity not matter? Because some of his best playoff runs really also kind of reflected how much help he had. I don't know if you recall, I think when he was on the Cavs, I think the last time he made it to the playoffs with the Cavs,
it was 2018.
He was putting up like LeBron's numbers were stupid that year.
Yeah.
But it was literally like nobody. Like Kevin Love was hurt, Kyrie was hurt. It was literally nobody. I think the point guard. What was the point guard's name?
I don't even remember.
I don't even remember his name, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I remember they were like making a whole thing about how he's like really showing up for LeBron, and I think he like averaged like 11 points a game or whatever the case may be. But I do understand your point about his statistics, but I also feel like out of necessity, as opposed to skill.
I mean, let me say this, right? Because your best player, right, on the team, your team only gets to where they can go in the playoffs due to the fact that the team is getting the necessity of what they need to win from their best player, right?
Tell that to Russell Wilson.
Right?
Russell Westbrook.
Right? So, with LeBron James, it just comes. I mean, I know we kind of steering away from the topic, but if we really gotta look at it, right? LeBron James is the facilitator, the smart scorer. He also rebounds. And even in a lot of aspects too, LeBron can lead on a defensive anchor. So I mean, you could knock down that last, you could kind of pinpoint that one year, in LeBron's career where he averaged 22 points in that series. But I mean, there's a lot of other teams and a lot of other players where you can bring up the same situation where players don't live up to their expectation or fulfill the parts, fill in the expectation of what they were supposed to do. I mean, Luka Doncic this year, we give him a lot of praise for making the Western Conference Finals, but last I checked, this was his first year getting out the first round. He lost the same team twice. Going against the Clippers, he lost to them 2 straight. Same with Giannis. Giannis, before he won his championship, he was getting knocked out the first round, second round. Embiid is still the same situation. Michael Jordan, we already kind of know the story about him going against the Pistons and losing out of the first round 3 times, which LeBron has ever done once in his career. So but the fact of the matter is, man, when we look at some of these stars and we look at some of these players throughout their career, I mean, I think it's really irrelevant. I mean, unless you're really breaking it down to comparisons, I think it's really irrelevant to bring up like one postseason or one series. If you're talking about a collection of things, a collection of accomplishments and achievements, especially when you're talking about somebody like LeBron James, who's so later on in his career. But yeah, let's get back to these Jokic stats though. So he had like the last game, I think it was like 22 points. He was 25% from 3. So I don't see great numbers there, bro.
and he had 2 40-point games against Warriors, who I will remind you won the championship.
He had 2 40-point games.
Yeah.
Did he?
He did.
I don't remember that.
No, I don't remember that either.
No,
he scored 37, and you said it was 40. Did you not?
All right. First
Yeah,
one is
and you
made
said
by 40.
37 was 40.
Bro, you're not gonna give shit because of 3 points, bro. Pretty much. 40.
It's not 40, bro.
That's
37
propaganda.
points. Yeah, that's not 40 points, bro. 40 points is 40 points. Like if somebody says, "Yeah, I dropped 40," it's not 39 points. It's 40 points, bro.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
standing outside the club. He's not in the club, bro.
Oh yeah. Then
Yeah.
tell me who got this year's MVP and last year's MVP.
Yeah, it was Jokic, but the first year he got it right.
Well,
Last I
round
checked,
he
who
got
also
kicked
had-
out
yeah.
of, though.
Yeah. See,
Who also had the most
what round he got out?
efficient? Who had the most efficient season of all time?
Maybe Jokic.
But what round did he get out of?
What round did he get out?
Yeah.
Because it didn't really help.
What round? All right,
Braun-
so all that
Braun,
PE
that was the first time Braun got out
All
in the
that-
first round last year too. So
Okay, yes. Thank you for that lovely story. But guess what? That was his 18th season, bro. Look. I want you I want you guys to bear witness to this because I want you guys to really pay attention when I ask this question. And Philippe, I know you gonna know the answer to this question. Josh, you worried me a little bit, but I have some faith in you. LeBron in an MVP season, do you even think he would miss the playoffs or be bounced out of the first round? Be honest.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, that's true.
Never.
First round, not first.
Never, bro.
Never.
LeBron would never
even a
get
thought.
bounced out of the first round in an MVP season. If he's winning two
Never.
straight, come on, bro. Come on, son. Like
Oh,
you
bro.
talking about, look, in one of LeBron's MVP years, do you know LeBron James was the only player to shoot 60% from the field and 40% from three
Wow.
on the
Wow.
Heat? Yeah. And you talk about efficiency, that's efficiency, brother.
When did they make the efficiency thing? That has to be
The
recent.
PER, honestly, I think that's like it's obviously it's like an advanced stat, but it was something that they had came up with like in the 80s or 90s because a lot of these players, because Wilt was still accumulated into that leaderboard. Michael Jordan, I think, is on top of the list in terms of career, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I think Michael Jordan is on top of
yeah,
career
Yes.
and playoff career, and then I think it's like for playoffs, I think it's like Hakeem or it's like there's some name in there that's pretty sneaky. But LeBron is like top 3 in both categories.
okay. Jokic is too in career one.
In career, but and I'm gonna ask this, right? So LeBron is on top of the list. LeBron and MJ are on top of the list. They're either 1, 2, or 3 for PER, right? I'm not knocking the fact that Jokic got some pretty good, statistical numbers. He's put
He
up
got game.
Yeah,
He
he's
got
got game. Nobody's denying that. Like literally, like I promise you, nobody's denying that. But to use to kind of say, like, basically what you're saying is that Jokic is going to have a better season or have a better career than LeBron and Michael Jordan. And I'm sorry, bro. I don't believe that, dog. I don't.
All right, but you all say no, the shit when he played without his second and his third best players. Remind me when Braun played without his second or third best players in his MVP
He was
run.
in the finals.
Yeah, he was in the finals. 2018. Kevin, remember I
He was
showed
in
you
the
bro.
finals.
I showed you.
But
the
Kevin
stats.
Love was there
Kevin,
at first.
Kevin Love was there, bro. All right, let me tap into.
Kevin
this.
Love was putting up nothing.
He was putting. Thank you, Philippe.
Kevin Love was putting up
Thank
nothing.
you, Philippe. Thank
He
you.
was putting up nothing.
Kevin Love was not the player that you keep talking about. He was
LeBron
not. By
James
the
is
time,
quite
by the
literally
time
doing everything.
Kevin Love went to the Cavs, he was not the Timberwolves player that you keep thinking or you keep seeing from these numbers. Kevin Love was not the same player on the Cavs. He was a third option, bro. He was a spot up shooter and a rebounder. He was the same thing as Chris Bosh. He was honestly, I would even say he was worse than Chris Bosh at that time. Because at least
Chris Bosh actually put up numbers.
yeah, Chris Bosh was still a really good rebounder. I think in terms of shooting, I think Kevin Love was a little bit of a better shooter than a little bit of a better spot up shooter than
How many
Chris
30-point games did Kevin Love have on the Cavs?
Hey
I couldn't
man,
even-
Kevin Love was still decent.
Bro, he was
No.
he was averaging 20 points that season. So
bro,
Yeah.
but 20 point, all right, yes, 20 points on a championship competitive team. But if you're talking about, you were just talking about, okay, he needs this player, he needs that player. But if you look at those playoff numbers, how much they averaged in the playoff, because you're talking about the season, right? You're talking about the regular season. Once you hit that playoffs, you already know it's a different ball game. You going against good teams on a consistent basis. Kevin Love averaged 14 points in that postseason. LeBron averaged over 30, and he had the second highest PER in his career. So you keep talking to me about, okay, Jokic doesn't have his first, second best player. Guess what? LeBron that year, I don't know if you remember, Philippe, you might remember, 2018 Cavs. Remember, they had Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, right? Dwayne Wade, Tristan Thompson. Like, they had all these players. They even and guess what? They traded them all because the roster didn't work. It didn't fit. So they traded all those guys away. And then that's when LeBron was playing all those games and had probably one of the best statistical years of his career. So besides Kevin Love, I mean, you're probably only giving me like J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, as far as the other players that were really contributing from scoring on that team. But nah, man, like I said, you keep missing with that 2018 by saying, all right, LeBron didn't have this play.
Let's look at his other two chips with the Heat. Imagine there is no D-Wade and Bosh. Would he still have those two chips?
No, he wouldn't.
Well, same situation with Jokic right now.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not the same. It's not the same.
Let me chime in right here, Philippe.
Go ahead, bro.
Dwayne Wade would not have those two championships without LeBron James. Okay, LeBron James is the reason why the Heat won those championships, right? We know about the shot and all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, the Heat were only able to compete, because of LeBron James. The Heat, look, I know Philippe, I know you remember this too. Do you know players were trying to come to the Heat to play with LeBron James? They weren't coming to play with Dwayne Wade. They weren't coming to play with Chris Bosh. They were coming to play with LeBron James simply because of the fact that they know that they would have a chance to win a title. So this analogy, trying to say like, okay, if Dwayne Wade wasn't on the team, they wouldn't win a championship. You could say that about a lot of players, bro. If Andrew Wiggins is on the Warriors, do they win? If Chris Middleton was playing in that Celtics series, if Chris Middleton was playing that Celtics series, wouldn't they have won? If Kawhi Leonard didn't get hurt the year when the Bucks made the finals, wouldn't they make the finals? You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, this is in the NBA. It's a team collective thing. Bare minimum, you got to have a 1A and a 1B on your team.
My fault. Also, can we let's just bypass the Heat. Let's talk about LeBron before he went on the Heat. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the fact that man was conference finals, like every year guaranteed.
Conference finals, one finals trip, and lost to the Spurs.
Now your boy, who has one of the highest player efficiency ratings, right? Has he gotten further than the first round?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Jokic went to the conference finals against the Lakers in the 2020 playoffs in the bubble and lost to the Lakers.
How many years has he have been in the league?
I would say like 7 years. Artem?
Yeah.
He's been in the league for 7 years, and he's been to one conference finals.
But he's also been a second-round pick, so first 3 seasons.
Nah, man, that don't matter, bro. That don't matter, dog. Yeah, you trying to throw something in there.
How many playoffs has he been in? How many playoffs has he been in?
Wow.
I think with the exception of 2 years.
3. He's been in 3. That's the answer.
He's been in 3. So I'm assuming 2 first rounds and 1 conference final.
One second round, 1 first round, and 1 conference final. Because he beat the Spurs back in 2019. I remember that. They went to Game 7.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
DeRozan.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nah,
The
Jokic,
argument
man.
sound kind of shaky.
So
and before that, he was on the bench. That's why, because he was second round. But as soon as he came,
Why was he on the bench?
playoffs every
I
year.
thought he was the guy. What happened?
He became the guy, bro.
But LeBron was the guy.
LeBron was always the guy, bro. Like he was always the guy. I think you really underestimate this, bro. Like literally from being the first overall pick from high school, LeBron had so much expectation. Like you talking about somebody who's continuously compared to Michael Jordan early in his career. Like I think if anybody was watching basketball at that time, like when LeBron wasn't even going to a finals, wasn't winning a finals, he was getting MVPs. It was irrefutable that he was the best player in the league. What were people saying, Fleet, at that time when LeBron was still trying to get his first chip? Every time they would bring up he still doesn't have a championship, because only reason why they kept bringing up this argument is because everybody knew how great LeBron was, bro. You get what I'm saying? So when you say, all right, this player is an MVP, you can't keep chiming in on other players, or you have at some point you have to be able to hold them accountable. Now, do I think the accountability needs to stand firm for Jokic at this part of his career? I don't think that's fair. Simply for what you stated, he does need Jamal Murray, he does need MPJ to be back in that lineup in order for them to completely compete for finals. But with that being said, the Nuggets, I think this is their best roster in recent years. I think if he doesn't get it this year, which he won't, right? If he doesn't get it this year, then people going to really start looking at Jokic just some type of way. So
I want to remind you what kind of player Jamal Murray was in 2020 bubble season. So just that with Jokic, no one's going to stop him.
You know what though? I do remember Jamal Murray, Bubble Murray, but you know what I also remember? I remember them losing to the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And what I do remember is the Lakers winning a championship in that 2020 bubble. And that's something you need to remember, because what you like to bring up is that all this bubble talk, but you keep bringing up Bubble Murray. And guess what? We haven't seen that man in 2 years, bro. We haven't seen that man. He hasn't put up those Bubble Murray numbers
Put him on a carton.
Exactly. You feel me? So those regular season numbers, you love bringing the regular season, but we didn't even see those numbers in the regular season after that following postseason. And not to say that he can't do it. Look here. I think Jamal Murray is a beast. I think he should in this upcoming year, he should be a top 5 point guard in this league. He should make a statement for being top 5 point guard in this league. If not, maybe 6, 7, but I definitely think Jamal Murray should be top 5 in this league. But with that being said, man, Jamal Murray is one of those players who has to prove himself also, even though he had a really great stretch in that postseason. But guess what? Jamal Murray doesn't have, anything under his belt neither in terms of accomplishments. He doesn't really have a lot of all-star selections. I don't think he hasn't been picked for any all NBA teams. Things like that, it definitely matters. And I would, for somebody like Jamal Murray and the way we talk him up, I would definitely like to see him being more in those conversations as the years come by, because when we're talking about players like Trae Young, Ja Morant, or any other player that plays in his position, I think Jamal Murray is definitely deserves to be in that conversation.
Hey man, shout out Jamal Murray, Kitchener Demon. He from Canada, man. Jamal Murray is always gonna be nice, because I'm telling you, when you're hooping on those Toronto streets, that does something to your mentality, bro. These Toronto guys, they use your elbows, bro. They're not like these LA guys, bro. LA, I'm not gonna lie, like basketball's a little soft down there, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole bunch of threes, it's like a bunch of dances, it's not really like, you know what I mean? It's not really like the gritty, grindy basketball that's in Toronto, bro. Just watch K Showtime. This guy K Showtime really shows you what like Toronto ball is about, man. So Jamal Murray, man, like he can play through the contact because that's what Toronto basketball does to you. You see that 360 layover LeBron? Those are the type of moves you need to do in Toronto, bro. Because these guys, they just be hacking you, bro. Damn, bro. LeBron really went outside, bro. 360 layup.
He went outside.
LeBron went outside, bro. At the end of the day, Jamal Murray doesn't have to do anything the rest of his career. He could sit on the sofa, bro, eating Lay's. He'll always be remembered because of that.
He gotta win a chip. You gotta chip. You gotta win a chip. You gotta chip.
Yeah,
you gotta win a chip.
Because last I checked, LeBron had some career-like numbers in that postseason alone. I mean, if we talking about the finals, we talking about 30, I think 30, 12, and 8. If I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong in the rebounds, but he was like 30, 12, and 8. So he averaged more points, rebounds, and assists than his co-star in Anthony Davis, man. So I that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know where this thing is coming at with LeBron going outside and doing all that, being a victim of all these circumstances. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the biggest thing that we could probably label on LeBron is his finals record, but he's still a winner. But with that being said, with Jokic, right? We kind of steering back to this. I think he has a lot of. I think he out of Embiid, Giannis, and him. I think Jokic low key has the most pressure out of those three. And I'm gonna say it like this, and then you guys can chime in and tell me what you think, right? So, simply because of the fact, one, he's being compared to Giannis, or I like to compare him to Giannis because I mean Giannis already has somewhat similar accomplishments as Jokic with the 2 MVPs, and then also putting up Defensive Player of the Year, winning title. I mean, we know all that jazz, right? And just in terms of PER and the level of dominance in the league, Giannis is top tier, bro. Honestly, I wouldn't even say Jokic is in that same caliber in terms of competitiveness when it comes to Giannis and when it comes down to when it really gets down and gritty. You hear what I'm saying? So because I'm gonna keep it 100 with you on this, man. And because I know Draymond Green is a tough defender, but I don't see a lot of what I saw against Draymond Green against Jokic. I don't see Draymond Green doing a lot of that against somebody like Giannis in the paint, bro.
The only difference there is right now between Giannis and Jokic is the ring. As soon as he gets that one ring, undoubtedly the best player in the league.
No,
he's a triple-double machine. He's the only player in the league
let me chat
right
in
now.
Quick. Let me chat in real quick.
He's the only player in the league to be top 10 in points, rebounds, and assists. Yeah. Who else in this league right now is top 10 in points, rebounds, and assists? Jokic.
Yeah, let me snap very quick. Okay. Artem, the fact that you said that the only difference between Jokic and Giannis is a ring is delusional, bro. Yeah. This guy Giannis can jump over a whole pickup truck. Jokic can't even jump over a curb. So I don't know what you're saying. The only difference is like a ring, bro. There's a big difference. This guy Giannis, bro, we never seen anything like him, bro. That tall, that strong, that fast. Wow. Well, at the end of the day, here's the issue with Giannis, okay? That I will admit. The issue with Giannis is he's the best defender in the league, and it's not even close. Like the second guy, I don't know who the second guy is, but like he's much like worse than Giannis. Giannis defensively is a hack. Like he's already a top 3 defender all time, probably. But
Thank you. See what I'm saying? Like he not only does he put up relatively the same offensive numbers as Jokic, but he's a two-way player, bro. Like, and it's not like he's just a guy that can guard. He's been awarded Defensive Player of the Year, right? Like we talk up Jordan, we talk up a lot of these players, and compare these NBA legends. But I could bring it I can bring it up for you right here, in terms of what Giannis did in his first 9 seasons compared to Michael Jordan. Let me see.
I also wanted to just interject that I did agree with who has more pressure. but I do want to hear these stats. I actually feel like Embiid has more pressure, but I'll wait for you to make your point.
You can say it right now. I can chime in whenever.
Well, I feel like Embiid has more pressure because you see, here's the thing, man. Like, listen, I respect the PRE and all that stuff. I definitely respect it, and I do believe your boy has a lot of upside. I'm not knocking it. I do believe you may have a lot of faith in him, and you got to relax a little bit, but I do understand. However, with Embiid, I feel like he has whiffed the finals too many times. I mean, I feel like his talent has very much showed itself. I mean, like, the guy is technically still figuring out how to play basketball. Like, can we just acknowledge that? Like, he's doing what he's doing and still learning how to play basketball. I mean, like, how do you necessarily equate that kind of talent? So there's that. There's also the fact that the Sixers franchise has reconstructed that roster a few times, and they've just gotten close, but they get spanked by the Heat, not good enough. They get spanked by the Bucks, not good enough. They get James Harden, who doesn't show up. So it's just, you start kind of looking at like all of these maneuvers around Embiid, and then you start kind of questioning, like, well, who's the real problem here? Is it Embiid not fully showing up? Is he not doing enough? Because kind of to the earlier points of LeBron may not have always had enough help. He may not have always had the best people available, but he still managed conference finals or finals. Definitely finals as he matured into his mid-career. So with Embiid, it's still kind of like, at what point will you be able to crack the surface? I mean, Jimmy Butler has been to the finals. Jimmy Butler with the Heat. Now, that is a wonderful culture. I believe that it's a great franchise, and Jimmy Butler is a dog. But his supporting cast is B- at best. At best. But you can't say that for the Sixers. They've had a plethora of talented individuals come and go, but it still hasn't been enough to get them over that hump. So it kind of begs the question of Embiid. Now, your boy at the Nuggets, I feel like he hasn't even been in a position to really like put pressure on him. Like who is he? But he's still a great player. I just feel like Embiid has like way more pressure because at this point he's just literally seeing people in his conference are just taking turns getting to the finals. When will it be his turn? That's my input.
I definitely agree. I agree with your analysis, Philippe. But let me get back to this, and then I want to chime in on that Embiid take. So through the first 9 seasons, Giannis has had 4 All-NBA first teams, 4 All-NBA defensive teams, first defensive teams, 2 MVPs, right? Just like Jokic, Defensive Player of the Year, and an NBA championship, and then not to mention his NBA Finals MVP. The only other player to do this was Michael Jordan, right? So if we gonna start knocking Michael Jordan's stats and things that he do in the league, I mean, let's start doing it now because whenever Michael Jordan's name is in basketball, it's related to gold. Anything Michael Jordan does, it's the greatest thing to have ever been done, right? It's never been done before. But right now, Giannis is doing something relative to the GOAT right now. So let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100 right there. Reason being, so let me chime in on this Joel Embiid situation. With Joel Embiid, right? I don't think anybody is knocking Joel Embiid, and I do agree. Joel Embiid does need to be a little bit more impactful and make a name for himself in the playoffs. He's had a lot of his runs cut short. Either it was his fault or many other reasons. Biggest thing with Embiid is he has to stay healthy in the playoffs. I think that aside, that's what really kills him in the postseason, and I think that's what's killing him now. Joel Embiid has always been injury prone, and that's hurt his playoff chances. Reason being why I don't say why he doesn't have the most pressure is because Joel Embiid hasn't won 2 MVPs compared to the other players. I think so. I think when you're taking that sort of analysis, I mean, that's a pretty clear cut explanation saying that, hey, Giannis and Jokic are better players than Embiid. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. So when you look at somebody like Giannis, right, who was facing a little bit of pressure, but then he got that scratched off him due to that finals run. But now you got somebody like Jokic who's just as good or puts up numbers just like Giannis, but then he has to be able to finish it through with not even with a championship, but at least getting close, a finals appearance, another conference, another Western Conference appearance. So that's the reason why I put so much pressure on somebody like Jokic, because
is he efficient or impactful?
I would say more efficient than impactful.
Because impactful kind of matters just a little bit more.
He's because and I'm gonna break it down when I say why he's more skilled than impactful, because impact on the game relatively falls on plus and minus, right? So if you're watching basketball, is everybody here familiar with plus and minus stat category?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah, so plus minus, right? So I'm gonna just run it through for anybody who's watching, right? So plus minus is basically how is the team doing while you are on the court. That is what plus minus is, right? So Jokic can have, let's just say, a really good PER. Let's just say that game he can probably have like a PER of like 25, 28, right? Really, really good per stat. But then his plus minus would reflect completely differently. He can have like a negative 14, negative 20, negative 10 PER. That reflects on how his team is doing on the court, right? So for somebody who's like, for somebody who's a center, right, who's known for being, and I'm gonna just say it flat out like this: Jokic is the best passing center I've ever seen, right? He's the best passing center I think I've ever seen play basketball. But when you're when you're a facilitator, when you're the assist guy on the team, right, you're the guy that's relied upon to make other players better, to make the players around you better, right? So that's something that we had seen from LeBron for a very long time, man, a very long time. Like we've seen LeBron pass up the shots that he could have taken and dish it out to a guy like Udonis Haslem or Mario Chalmers or even Matthew Dellavedova. I can list out the names, man. Kyle Korver, James Johnson. You remember James Johnson, back in the Heat days when he was like last on the bench. We talking about somebody that you going through the rotations for somebody like this. This is these are the names that LeBron is playing with at that time. Like like James Jones. Like he was literally there to put up one shot. Like, hey, we need that one shot. That's what James Jones was, right? So if we talking about somebody like Jokic, right, who's putting them 8 assists a game, so he's shown that he can make his team better. He's shown that he can put up the stats, he can get boards, he can be efficient. So what's the issue? What's the problem here? You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't he getting farther than he's supposed to? Why isn't he able to put up the same amount of numbers as Giannis in a postseason run? And we're not talking about a single season. We're not talking about a single series. We're not talking about 30 points in one series, right? Because we give somebody like Jason Tatum a lot of heat for having 100 turnovers in that postseason. But how is he able to get 100 turnovers in the postseason, right? Because he played over 16 games in the playoffs, right? You can only get numbers like that if you have a playoff run or a stretch, in the playoffs. So the more amount of games that you play, the more teams that you're going up against, that you're being matched up against, you're gonna get some bad games. I mean, my bro brought up Jimmy Butler, right? If you looked at some of the games that he was playing with, or some of the stats that he put up against the Celtics, I mean, look at the numbers. He had single-digit points, I think, in 2 or 3 consecutive games. So there were a stretch of games where he didn't have great games, but there were other games where Jimmy Butler had really great games. And I think if our memory doesn't fall short, Jimmy Butler probably had one of, if not the best postseason stats, pre-finals. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna be honest, you know what I'm saying? So, and Jimmy Butler's been to a finals. So, anybody want to chime in on that?
Hey man, real quick, I gotta say that unfortunately I do gotta bounce. I didn't put enough time for this podcast, but next time if I'm on, I'll be here for the whole show.
No doubt, man. Hey,
Yes,
thanks, Josh, for chiming in. We we definitely enjoyed your perspective on things. Definitely, whenever you can, man, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, man. So whenever you guys start, I can start putting out the link. So whenever you see me, live and up and running, you can literally join whenever. You don't have. It doesn't have to be like a scheduled or arranged thing, if you know what I'm saying.
For sure. Oh, that's lit. Yes, sir. Yeah, my first podcast ever, man. It was lit. You guys are all knowledgeable NBA viewers, man. You guys got a good perspective on things. So yeah, it was a blast. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thank you, Josh.
All right.
Appreciate for having you, man.
Yes, sir. Easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. So it's just down to us three for the moment. I'm probably not going to stay on here for too long, but like I said, I just want to just make some clear-cut points. So with Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid, I just don't feel. I feel like Embiid is on the third, on the lower on the totem pole. I think Embiid will start to feel a lot more of that pressure. Once he wins the MVP. I think once he knocks that down, I think that will be a scratch on his resume because
has he had a full season?
No, not completely, but I think this year he was really close to having a full season, but I think those couple games that he missed ultimately was ultimately the demise of his MVP voting. And even then, a lot of people were still favoring Joel Embiid in the MVP voting. Me personally, I think there's good reasons. There's very good reasons on why people could have picked Embiid as MVP, but I think if you're not going Jokic, you go Giannis. And I still think Jokic was kind of the clear-cut favorite in the MVP voting. So I think that's the reason why, there's just a lot more pressure. That, like I said, the same thing applied to LeBron James. When people win MVPs, when people win titles, people looked at them and people were saying, hey, you got to win a chip, bro. You got to win a chip, my guy.
Russell Westbrook, James Harden,
yeah.
Everybody who's been recent MVPs, if they didn't make it to the finals and at least win once, it was kind of like you were almost like a different type of buzz, in a really weird way. Because Russell Westbrook really dropped the ball on that one. It's like he was just like a stat stuffer. And then, I find it interesting that what makes Jokic, I have a difficulty pronouncing Jokic. The interesting thing I find about Jokic is that just based on everything I hear, based on what I see, he's more so the motor of his team, but the other players on his team, he sets them up to make an impact as opposed to him making an impact himself. Is that an agreeable analysis, or would you say that's kind of off?
I feel like, or Artem, you chiming on this. What do you think?
Wait, could you say it one more time?
Sure. I'm sorry. It's like I got the headphones. What I was saying was, based on everything I've seen, I've heard, I just feel like he is more so of a, I would say, facilitator of the team. Like, he creates situations for his teammates to be impactful as opposed to being impactful himself.
I guess I could see that, but I think he's very versatile. He tries to balance both, and that's why he's the only player in the league to be top 10 in points, rebounds, and assists. Let's be clear.
That's versatility. Versatility can get you into the room, but impactfulness will allow you to go much further. I mean, there's such a wide display of players who are clearly extremely versatile. Chris Paul, for example. Chris Paul has been deemed by far, unarguably, one of the best, if not the best point guard of all time because of everything that he can do. However, Chris Paul is not an impactful player in the playoffs when it matters. He's efficient up until that point, but no impact, which definitely showed these recent playoffs. I do apologize for interrupting you, though.
No, I see what you mean. To be honest, it's what?
Oh, so let me chime in here. So I actually do disagree with you, Philippe. So, I think when it comes to skill, I mean, I think from what we've seen, Embiid is still, you know, the motor of that team, you know, in terms of skill, in terms of facilitating. I mean, for the most part, I mean, we talking about a guy who played damn near all the games for the past 2 years for the Nuggets, you know. So and there's a very good reason as to why the Nuggets are making the playoffs, and Jokic is a very good, you know, he's a big part of that. You know, when you look at some of the matchups throughout the year, Jokic he's put up some really good numbers. But with that being said, like you said, you know, when we talking about playoffs, you know, and we talking about some of these teams that if Jokic or when Jokic is can go against some of these teams. I mean, we talked about DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton is a top 5 center, but he gave, I mean, real talk, he gave Jokic work in that series. You know, he gave him work. He gave him trouble on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when you think about a player like Giannis, who DeAndre had faced, right, in the highest competitive series in basketball, I mean, it clearly showed, you know, the level of hunger, the level of growth, the level of competitiveness that Giannis has that Jokic clearly doesn't have yet. And the only way Jokic, right? So the only way like Jokic can make up for that is to implement that same level of dominance in his play. Like nobody wants to. I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, Artem. Nobody wants to see the best player on the team pass the ball. You know what I mean? Even though it does make sense. You know, it does. Making the best play at the best time is what benefits everybody, right? But for most times, nobody wants to see the best play on the team pass the ball up. You know, like LeBron got a lot of heat for passing the ball when people felt like he should have shot the ball. You know, and so there were a lot of points. There were a lot of times in that Warriors versus Nuggets series where Jokic could have definitely been a lot more aggressive, man. A lot more aggressive. I mean, if we talking about a 2-time league MVP, right? A guy who's the best center in the league right now, right? I mean, you said he was averaging like 30 points in that series, but he never got 40. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's something to really, you know, knock on him. You know, I'm not saying
he got 37, bro. He got 37.
You know what I mean? So, but reason why I say it like that is because Shaq, you know, he made a great point. And this is kind of like who I'm quoting off of. You know, if a really good player scores 37 and he loses, that means if he would have probably had like maybe 43, 45 points, right? If he would have, you know, kind of been a little bit more aggressive in some areas and maybe in some situation as opposed to others, the outcome would have been entirely different. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
So basically where I'm getting at, right, is that play, right, when it comes to Giannis, like having a 50 bomb in a closeout game in the finals, you know, dropping 40, shooting 50-60% from the field. You know, and remember, this is not the first round, this is the second round, this is the conference round, this is the NBA finals, bro. The NBA finals is when he did this, and that matters. That matters, bro. And when you do certain things like that in the highest competitive game or in the highest competitive series in basketball, I'm sorry, bro, that can't be looked over, and you can't take away something like that from Giannis because he's earned that. He's earned that, bro. Same as how Kawhi earned his ring, right, in 2019 with the Raptors. It's not like nobody was saying, okay, Kawhi was putting up, he was putting up all these numbers, but he had a really great team. Warriors were hurt, things of that nature, right? Nobody's bringing that up. But, with Giannis, I mean, I don't think, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people are really bringing up that postseason by saying, hey, a lot of players were hurt, and that's the only reason why the Bucks were able to make the finals. But, right, it's still how the player plays, you know what I'm saying, their approach to the game, and the statement or the impact that they have in that postseason. It does matter, bro. It does.
Okay. But when we talk about the best players, we need to talk about the impact on the team. Without Jokic, Nuggets wouldn't be above Magic, and that's a fact. His best player is Aaron Gordon, and he still elevated Aaron Gordon's game with his playmaking. So, but at the same time, he was the leader in every stat. He was a leader in points, blocks, steals, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage.
LeBron. LeBron has done that too on his team, right? Like he's done the same exact thing. Like points, rebounds, assists. Like he's done that too. Like field goals, like three point percentage. Remember when I told you 60% for field, 40%? Only player to ever do that.
All right. So look, we've got James Harden. He's won MVP but doesn't have a ring. Would you not say that he's the best shooting guard in the league right now?
No, I would not. I would not say that right now. Absolutely not. No. That man is a
I don't even think he plays shooting guard at this point.
Nah, bro. He switched to point. He's a marshmallow.
Yeah, he's a point guard. And he's still a good point guard, but continue your point though, Adam.
Well, my point was is that James Harden is going to be Hall of Fame and Jokic is going to be Hall of Fame too. So he's still going to be one of the greatest, the most talented centers since Shaq, that's for sure.
Oh, he'll be the most talented, but I wouldn't say he's one of the greatest. Like I said, man, when we talking about one of the greatest, when you associate Jokic in that level, when you associate him with that, you get what I'm saying with that word.
What are the results?
Thank you, because Jokic is playing a very prestigious position, bro. He's playing a very prestigious position. Like center is not some position that was made yesterday, bro. Like we talking about some really great names. Like you talking about Shaq, bro. Like let's not even go beyond
Bill
Shaq.
Russell, Will Chamberlain.
No, hold on for you, because I don't even want to go there yet, right? Let's just stop at Shaq, right? Okay. Jokic is not playing against anybody like Shaq today. Like let's be honest, he's not playing anybody that's playing like Shaq. He's not playing against anybody. The only player that's probably even remotely close to that, or the only player who's close to that and has admitted, and Shaq admitted to saying that he's better than him, is Giannis, right? So you're talking about best center since Shaq, but guess what? Shaq said Giannis is the next Superman, not Jokic, but Giannis, right? So let's knock that one off, right? And then so when you're talking about centers, right? You're talking about David Robinson, even like you're talking about Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Kareem. I don't think Hakeem played. No, Hakeem was more of a power forward. Yeah, even to a degree, Dwight Howard in his prime, right? I'm not saying he's, Dwight Howard's better than him, but even then, right? Dwight Howard was putting up. He led the league in rebounds 5 times. He led the league in blocks 3 times. You're
forgetting a player, bro. Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown. No, okay, but
okay, but if we're saying that Giannis is remotely close to Shaq, then we gotta look at all the games.
No, he's putting up better numbers than Shaq. He's not close to. He's putting up better numbers than Shaq.
Regardless, all I'm saying is that we gotta look at the games that Jokic played against Giannis, and I know for a fact because I've looked that up before.
Mm-hmm. You talking about those regular season numbers?
Regardless, he's better. he leads in every stat. Other than points, he only is down by like 2 points. But other than that, he's leading in every stat pretty much.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, man, I mean, I'm not gonna knock that argument because at the end of the day, players got to play to compete. Regular season still matters. You know, seedings matter. But I think it's a completely different argument when you're talking about you facing a player, in the NBA Finals as opposed to Game 69 in the NBA season. I'm sorry, that's a completely different competitive ball game, bro. You know what I'm saying? You cannot compare that situation in those scenarios. And like I said, man, 2 years ago, right? He faced DeAndre Ayton in the playoffs, bro. In the playoffs. Right, and clearly it's not like, you know, the entire performance for Jokic and the Nuggets, it should entirely fall on him. But at the end of the day, if you have somebody like Aiden who's you know, giving you some tough competitive, you know, who's giving you a tough competitive edge, along with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, you know, I didn't see that stopping. I didn't see Giannis having any problems with that. Did you?
Well,
answer that. So did Chris Paul and Devin Booker able to do the same thing that they were able to do in that Nuggets series in the Bucks series?
Well,
yes or no? No, I mean, let me help you. No. They weren't able to do the same thing in that series. Why? Because Giannis is a better two-way player. He's a better defensive player. Giannis has a more competitive edge when it comes to winning basketball games, bro. That's just how it is, man. That's how it looks right now. It's not. And let me be clear. It's not that I'm trying to say like, okay, Giannis cares more about winning than Jokic. That's not the argument that I'm trying to make. It's just something that you see in certain players when you know, okay, once they got the ball and it's crunch time, they're gonna make things happen. You get what I'm saying? We've seen it in Kobe, right? We've seen it in LeBron. We've seen it to an extent, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, right? We've seen it in a lot of players, right? So even to an extent, LeBron early in his career, people, you know, I keep, you know, using LeBron references, but he's like one of the best examples. You know, early in his career, you know, a lot of people were saying, yo, LeBron needs to shoot the basketball. He needs to take the shot. He needs to be more assertive. He needs to be doing this and that and whatever. LeBron, the reason why, one of the main things as to why LeBron James repeatedly gets compared to Michael Jordan, why he's tiered lower than him, is because they look at LeBron's competitive drive against Michael Jordan, which I think is completely unfair at this point, because LeBron James has clearly shown that his competitive drive can compete with anybody. But that was the narrative. That was the narrative at that point. Am I wrong, Fleet?
No, it was like a very, very consistent narrative of LeBron being a pass-first player. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he was able to cure that ailment until, I would say, the second season with the Heat after 2011 occurred. It was a matter of, like, I think Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh honestly told him that he needs to lead the team and that Dwayne Wade didn't mind being second and Chris Bosh didn't mind playing his role. So it wasn't until LeBron, I would say, asserted himself and kind of maintained that style of playing. So I think in order for your boy on the Nuggets to really get to that pinnacle that you see him as, because obviously the numbers speak for themselves, he's efficient. Nobody's denying that. But I think a matter of what's going to get the Nuggets as far as you think they'll take him. Because as far as him going to the Hall of Fame and being a great player and things of that nature, all his numbers definitely indicate that is definitely going to happen as long as he continues the pace. But when it comes to, and I'll quote the great Isaiah Thomas, it's all about the chips. That's the point of everything. Now, at the rate he's going, is he going to win a championship? No, he has to slightly alter his game to not only be efficient, but most importantly, impactful. Either on the court as a team, as a star player, or off the court as a team leader. You can't just keep facilitating your guys to show up. You have to show up too. But on that note, I definitely do have to go take care of some stuff. But Pat, it was great talking to you guys. Cash Sports is definitely better than ESPN. It was a wonderful opportunity to be a part of this, and I'm really proud of you, Pat. This is amazing.
Thank
really
you,
proud of you,
bro.
bro.
I really
No problem.
appreciate it, man. We gonna tap in. We gonna chime in whenever we get the chance, though. But I really
For sure.
I really appreciate you joining the channel. I think I'm gonna try to get another one knocked out here sometime tomorrow too. I would like to get it in the morning because like the traffic for YouTube,
Yeah, of course.
is a little bit better. So I might want to try to get this knocked out maybe like 10 a.m. Hopefully I can get it up and running at that time, give or take my schedule and everything going down. So, but yeah, I do appreciate the fact that you dropped by. Hey man, like and subscribe. I'm always gonna say that. So,
Yeah, you gotta like and subscribe.
You know what I mean? So, but thank you though, bro, for chiming in and joining the conversation.
Now for sure, I can't wait to see what homie on the Nuggets do. Like, now I'm invested. Now I want to see this greatness. That AK
Yeah, just wait.
Trust me, I'm gonna wait on it. I am going to wait on it. You ain't gotta say nothing, bro. I can't wait for the next season. I can't wait. Watch the playoffs come, bro. You gonna see me. We gonna have
hey, trust me, bro. I'm gonna be on his ass. He better hope the Nuggets go to the finals, bro. I'm telling you, bro. You better pray they make the finals, bro. You better pray because I'm gonna be on you on this channel. I'm gonna schedule this broadcast for next. I'm gonna schedule it now for next year around this time.
This is the anniversary.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm telling you. This conversation. That's a fact. All right, guys. It was a pleasure, man.
All right, man. All right, man. So we already been going at it for about an hour and 3/4. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna cut it loose right now.
But before we finish this off, so tell me, we've got names: James Harden, Russell Westbrook, D-Rose. Can't forget D-Rose. All these great players with MVPs, but not rings. Are they not great players?
No, they're great players. Nobody said that they're not. Nobody said Jokic wasn't a great player, though.
Oh.
It's just, like I said, it's just the fact that the names that you brought up, right? Like the type of players that you brought up. One, they won only one MVP. Even though James Harden could have, won multiple MVPs. But that's another argument for another day. But like I said, once you're an MVP player, you are in a different class associated than how you entered into the league. You get what I'm saying? So it's like once a player wins an MVP, he's not considered your average NBA player anymore. What comes with that? It comes with expectation. It comes with a value. It comes with box office attraction. It comes with superstar attraction. It comes with, like I said, expectation. And so when you are an MVP, you are irrefutably one of, if not the best player in the league. And what comes with being the best is winning. And that's what Jokic needs to win. And whether you choose to accept it or not, whether you choose, I don't know what resolve you want to come to. But at the end of the day, man, Jokic is just not winning in the postseason. And that's just that.
Right.
It's just he's not.
Tune back in 9 months, something like that. When Jokic is gonna walk with that ring on his finger, I'm gonna laugh at this dude over here. Gonna be a good time.
Look, man. Jokic might have a ring by the time the new CBA deal is going to be up. So I think that's when Jokic is probably going to win a championship. When LeBron is retired, Steph Curry is retired, KD's retired. Zion might have a blown knee, so he might have to retire at that point. No, let me not say that. No, knock on wood. But nah, man. I'm like I said, I don't see. It's not that I don't see him win the title. It's the fact that now we got to start feeding this urge. We got to start feeding this beast when it comes to Jokic needing to win a title, or at least being in a competitive position to compete for a final. Because I mean, we just seen Luka be in the conference finals, right? Even though Luka might not have as much MVPs, but I mean, we talk a lot more about Luka being the best player in the league as opposed to Jokic being the best player in the league.
But it's different. Luka is a point guard. Jokic is a center.
Yeah, but Jokic plays like a point guard though. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the only thing is that Jokic plays with his back against the basket, and that's how he's able to be as efficient in his scoring. Luka is a perimeter player. He plays facing the basket as opposed to him. You know, Luka gets to his sweet spot. A lot of his shots are made from the mid range. He's really good at getting to his spot and getting his shots off. You know, so we talking about two completely different play styles, but their approach to the game and how they play it is almost the same, just not from the scoring aspect, you know, because Luka can still rebound. I mean, obviously not like Jokic, because Jokic is a center. He's, you know, it's like 6'11", 7 feet, 13 rebounds, things of that nature, right? And then, you know, with Luka, I mean, there's only one other player to average 26 plus points, 6 plus rebounds, and 6 plus assists, and to do that in the regular season and the postseason. And the only other player was, guess what? LeBron James. Okay, so
Yeah.
Luka and LeBron, the only other players to do that heading into to do that in the regular season.
But you know that, like I said before, that Luka averages better points than in his first 5 years than LeBron did.
But I don't see Luka averaging 30 points in his career. So let me give you another stat, right? Since you're talking about average point, you know, LeBron James was the youngest player to average 30 points in his career, and then he's the oldest player to average 30 points in his career.
Okay.
All
right.
Well, so not to mention, like I said, we're not and it's not just putting up stats, right? What comes with stats is the results. LeBron has taken his team farther than Luka has on his team, bro. If we're gonna be honest here, the Mavericks are a better organization than the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are not the same franchise or have the same market value as the Dallas Mavericks.
But since we're talking about the career comparison, look at their first 245 games.
Mm-hmm.
He has more wins. Braun has 0.5 more games, or I mean more points, which is pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Luka has 2 more rebounds,
mm-hmm.
1.5 more assists, and
mm-hmm.
double.
But he's more efficient in terms of scoring. LeBron is way more efficient than Luka in terms of scoring the basketball, and that's a fact, right? And so it's not just the fact that, okay, you know, they put up relatively the same numbers, because I do think LeBron statistically is very LeBron-esque, but with Luka, right? You say, okay, he had a better record. I just brought up the fact that, you know, he was playing on the Cleveland Cavaliers, bro. I mean, if anybody has been watching basketball for God knows how long, everybody knows how much the Cleveland Cavaliers were just not a great team. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, you know, and this is precedented. This is something, you know, it's been known for, you know, quite some time. Like, come on, bro. The Cleveland Cavaliers, their first and only championship was with LeBron James in 2016. You get what I'm saying? So that just goes to show what type of franchise that the Cavs are. Like, it was seen as if LeBron hadn't come back to Cleveland to win that title with the Cavs, they were probably never going to win that championship. But guess what? The Mavs have a championship under their belt under Dirk Nowitzki. So yes, the upside with Luka Doncic is exceedingly high, and he could be looking to do a number of things in this league when it comes to what he can provide and the market value and the box office attraction that Luka definitely has when it comes to what he brings to the table. But you really got to pump the brakes on this LeBron and Luka comparison, because even though Luka can put up relatively, similar numbers, even though he can put up relatively similar numbers in his first couple of seasons, right? It's different if you're not producing the same results or even getting or not in the same ballpark. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking Luka because I think this is his third season in the postseason. So he had two first round exits, and then he had one Western Conference exit, which was the one we had just previously seen. So but yeah, man, it goes up from there. So when Luka actually makes or has a finals appearance, I think that's when we could start trying to make those comparisons. Those comparisons can be a little bit stronger, but when it comes to saying, okay, LeBron, being better than LeBron, this and that, I mean, we talking about two completely different eras. Like LeBron isn't and wasn't even shooting as many threes as he is now, as he would oppose back then, and that sort of game and that sort of approach in basketball, Luka would definitely be playing a different type of basketball. Then I wouldn't say he would be worse. I would never say that, but I'm definitely saying he would be playing a very different style of basketball. I would even say he could probably average more points then than now, only because they're not being he wouldn't be so reliant on the three. And I think he would go to his shot more. And I think he could average more points doing that than trying to do step back threes. I think in the scoring aspect, and this is the biggest thing when it comes to Luka and LeBron. And I think with Luka's game and where he's at with his career right now, his game is way more developed and established than LeBron's game was at this point in his career. Because Luka's he's in his fifth season.
Yep.
Right. So at this point in LeBron's career, LeBron didn't even have a go-to shot. You know what I mean? He didn't have like Luka. He has his spots. He knows how to get to his shooting spot. He knows how to get to his hot spots. LeBron James, even to this day, I can't even really tell you like his real go-to shot. You know what I mean? But when we think of Michael Jordan or we think of Kobe or even to an extent Dirk Nowitzki, first thing that comes to mind is the mid-range fadeaway, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the sky hook. You know what I'm saying? Steph Curry, the three. So but Luka, his game is way more. His blossomed a lot more at this point in his career than LeBron James, and I think he's truly benefiting off that right now. I mean, just due to the experience, the professional experience that he's had in the Europe League. He was playing against some big guys, some dogs out there, man. And just because it's the Euro League doesn't mean guys out there can't ball. The Euro League is shown to have had phenomenal NBA players throughout the years. So, man, I'm definitely gonna give my my props to Luka, man. I ain't trying to take nothing away from him. It's just we just got to see him, get his guys a little bit more involved. He kind of almost needs. It's almost like the roles need to be reversed with Jokic and Luka. So let me give you this analysis. So it's like, so you see the way Luka can take over games.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you see the way how Jokic can almost facilitate the ball, get his guys the ball when they need it.
Yeah.
It's like those roles need to be reversed. Jokic needs to do what Luka is doing, and Luka needs to do what Jokic is doing to a certain degree. Because I think Luka is doing a very great job in terms of scoring, keeping his team in the game. But the games where they've lost a lot of their footing or where they lost a very big advantage is when Luka wasn't, relying on his help. He wasn't getting his guys involved, and we already know Jokic is phenomenal at getting his guys involved. So that's
No,
just something. That's just something. I think that's something to look at there. And I think, and we already know, about the whole defense aspect. So, and LeBron has 5 first team All NBA defenses. So, yeah, like I said, if you can't just look at the stats and say, okay, this is the whole story, because at the end of the day, LeBron provided a lot for any team that he's played on, right? When it comes to Cavs, Heat, Cavs again, and then now the Lakers. You know what I mean? It's not just scoring, rebound, and assist. We talking about leadership. We talking about making sure the right guys get the ball at the right time. You know what I mean? And it's a lot. It's essentially a lot, but that's the makeup. That's what it takes to win a championship. That's the makeup a superstar needs to have to win a championship. And so I think Luka, dating back to the beginning topic that we had at the beginning, I think it's unanimous that Luka is the best player under 25. I don't even think it's debatable. I think it's kind of clear cut that Luka is the best player under 25. I don't think there's not really a lot to take away from that. Some key pointers is with Zion Williamson. I think this is the year where Zion Williamson is going to put up some crazy numbers. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to score 27 points off 61% shooting like he did in his second year. I think that's very hard to do. Shooting 60% from the field, that's very difficult. And then scoring 27 points per game, that's very difficult.
Have you seen his new contract?
Yeah, he's getting $193 million for 5 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not about that part, but about the part.
Talking about the weight clause?
Yeah, the weight clause. The fact that they put, 195-pound weight clause on it?
No, it's not 195 pounds. So it's 295 combined weight. Yeah, so it's 295 pounds of a combined weight and body fat percentage.
It just shows that his team doesn't trust him to be in shape and ready for the next season.
I mean, yeah, but hey, man, when you got money involved, money talks. So if it's in the contract, bro, I don't think that's a big enough reason, to I think that's a good enough reason to stay in shape, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's giving me freaking $193 million to make sure my fat ass stays in shape, hey, best believe, man, I'm hitting Planet Fitness, I'm hitting Equinox, I'm hitting 24 Hour, hey, you name it, bro. I'm hitting Pilates, I'm hitting the sauna. Hey, man, I'm doing everything I can to stay in shape. Okay, I'll tell you, man. Hey, $193 million, bro. I'm not gonna look at. I think Zion has got the message clear cut this year about how people were saying he was fat as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I think he got the message, and I think he's gonna be looking to go into this year, dangerous, because the Pelicans, I'm telling you, that roster. I mean, I'm not saying they're a Western, they're a West favorite, but they're definitely a team that we gotta look out for. And it's gonna be Zion Williamson, and it's gonna be Brandon Ingram leading the helm on that one. So I would say
CJ McCollum.
No, bro, it's gonna be Zion and Brandon Ingram. CJ McCollum is a great player, but it got to start with the young guys, in my opinion. At least when it comes to on the court play, what CJ brings is experience. is a knowledge of the game. Is his veteran experience can lead those. It can help those guys make better decisions at the right time. You get what I'm saying? Because Brandon Ingram and Zion are the two best players. Like, let's just say if Brandon Ingram and Zion aren't particularly playing well, they're not knocking down their shots. That's when somebody like CJ McCollum steps in and be like, okay, you know what? Let's slow down the pace. Let me get these couple shots up. Let me get my shots up. See where I can go from here. Let's see if I can get this team. If I can light a fire under this team. You know what I mean? So that's more of the role that CJ McCollum should be playing on the Pelicans, because I mean he averaged 24 points while he was on the Pelicans, put up some great numbers. So so at this point, we're just looking at the Pelicans to kind of continue or even increase that productivity from here on out. So Luka. So it comes down to it, man. It's like we said, Luka is just plain and simple, just the best, the best player under 25. And then so I don't think there's really much to say.
Finally, something we can agree on.
Finally, something you're right about. All right, man. So this is the Cash Sports Podcast, man. I thank anybody for tuning in. If you guys happen to watch the video post recording, drop that like, subscribe to the channel. You see that link in the comment section. It's always going to be there, ready for anybody who wants to tune in, who wants to chime in. Hey, we're ready for the smoke, we're ready for the arguments, we're ready for the topics. Hey, football's coming up now. I know people on YouTube. Hey, they don't know me too much, man. But hey, I'm hella excited for football. See, I don't think people understand like how much I really love football. Like, every Sunday when we're gonna have these videos, we're gonna be talking about football. It's gonna get intense and up in these chats, man. It's gonna get intense for some of these chats. So I think tomorrow I want to tap into the NFL, because I really haven't. I've only got one video up on that, but yeah, I want to get into NFL probably sometime tomorrow. So, but yeah, that's this concludes our video for today for Cash Sports. Like I said, I thank everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna say it one more time: like and subscribe, man. And if y'all see that Cash App, man, just give some chump change, man. I'm not penny pinching over here, man. But if y'all got some nickels or dimes, man, I'll take that too. You can swing that. But yeah. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Artem, you got anything you want to say before you head out?
No. Yeah. Thanks for tuning.
All right, man.
Yeah, bro.
So this concludes our Cash Sports episode for today. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for another Cash Sports video. Thank you, and have a good day.